accept your medals, but know this. The true heroes lie still in the marshes of that accursed place.
That's the end of the quote.
That's
What's
it.
What's the accursed place?
The accursed place can be Saffron Walden in Essex.
Perfect. Well, I am coming for a medal, so that'll be sound. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. We're back. It's episode 15, I think. If it's not, someone correct me. It's episode probably 15 of the Close Order podcast. Lewis has been away for a few weeks. He's been doing things, as he said to me pre-show. Is we talked, pretty much every other day for a couple of weeks, and that was too much, and he needed a break. And as I said, the channel's never done better over the last few weeks. So thanks for that, bud. Really appreciate the sacrifice you've made stepping away. We are here. We're going to be talking about all things Saffron Slam, which is, as you may have heard, truly one of the tournaments in Saffron Walden. In fact, it is the tournament in Saffron Walden.
It better be only.
Well, you thought it was the only gaming group. You thought
Indeed.
that you had the only Saffron gaming group, and turns out there was a second one. So maybe there's a second TO who's just surreptitiously booking the weeks that you're not in the big gaming hall, being like, "Hey, we've got that." We have got some of the favourites in chat. We've got Existence UK. Good evening. Good to see you as well. More Robot Wars. I only count to 12. I'm not sure what that relates to, but you're a Beastman player, so that sounds about right. Snoozy is here. Hello, friends. Good to have you, Snoozy. Here's a little bit of a spoiler for the 9 of you in chat so far. It's a slow start, I think, probably because I didn't post the video until 7 minutes before we went live. But there might be some sort of stat show coming in the next, let's say, calendar month or so. So that's something for you to look forward to. In fact, Snoozy, I've got some more details to iron out with you. We haven't even done the proper details yet, but we'll get there. Patrick says, "Evening, boys." Patrick's one of yours, isn't he? One of the classic Saffron Slammers.
Let's not start assigning ownership to Patrick there, but he is.
Yours in the colloquial sense. Not a chaos dwarf. Don't go in for slavery. Sorry.
Like, oh God, he's escaped.
Indentured servitude. We've got Matthew Sinclair. Coming for you, Matthew. I'm fucking coming for you. Matthew is my S-Bot game that we're going to play straight after this. So looking forward to that. I just said to Lewis off camera, I'm going to beat you this evening. And then we're going to have a grudge match rematch on Saturday. We'll see how we get on, though. Ginger Steve is here. Always a pleasure to have you, Mr. Steve. Lucy Montgomery. Ahoy, hoy. A great name and a great phrase. That just puts me in the mind of the SpongeBob. Do you ever a SpongeBob watcher? I kind of feel like you came fully formed out of the womb just listening to historical podcasts.
Oh, I love The Rest is History. Don't listen to this anymore. Go and listen to The Rest is History. They're doing a great series on United States in 1968 at the moment.
Yeah.
Lots of Vietnam War content, which is great.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Lucy Montgomery, you have been usurped for the best name. We've got Maximilian Scharfenberger. I hope I didn't butcher that.
You panicked for a moment there, didn't you?
I looked at all of the letters and I was like, I really want to get this right. It would be rude to get it wrong, at least deliberately. So we're gonna seg into talking about
segue.
No. I know it's wrong. Yeah, you remember Mean Girls? Stop trying to make fetch happen. Seg is just I'm gonna make it. I'm not an influencer. I hate the phrase, but if there's one thing I can influence you all to do, I want you to say segue incorrectly. So, hilarious anecdotes aside. So funny, so witty, so podcast.
I want to go home.
You are at home. That's where we stream from. To be clear, from our separate homes. As much as he'd be lucky to have me and I him, Lewis and I are not in that sort of partnership.
Yeah, we've got one passionate night on Friday night. We were staying in my house, and that'll be it.
Absolutely. Apologies for the late posting of the link into chat, because I was getting a fantastic Turkish haircut. Always a pleasure going to that place. It's a place called TK Barbers in Nottingham. I'm going to give them a free plug because they're just fucking great. They always have like really loud, like dance hall music, so the energy's always high. They're really friendly. The haircut's great. It's very reasonably priced. I'd had the hot towel massage for the first time. Would recommend. I could have fallen asleep. And then, of course, I looked at my phone after I finished, had a heart attack, went, fuck, I've got to get home because I've got a podcast to do. So I've done it at a poor time. More Robot Wars recommends Dan Carling's Hardcore Ward Gaming to you. I assume you've come across that one.
Dan Carlin does Hardcore Histories, so like rest is history do like hour-long episodes. Dan Carlin's history episodes are like 9 hours. So when that comes on your podcast feed, it's just like, hell yes, I've got a day of listening.
Excellent stuff, Matthew. Just being funny about our erstwhile tryst. He's a vampire and he's a wood elf, the original odd couple. That's fair. I mean, we'd have similar lifespans, so it works surprisingly well. And Winslow said, would you call the experience a Turkish delight? Yes, that's very good. I don't like Turkish delight, but I did enjoy that Turkish delight. All right.
Time I've heard that joke before.
We should probably talk about the thing we're here to talk about, which is Warhammer. As they say on this podcast, the rest is Warhammer. Can they sue me for that?
Probably not.
Excellent. Gonna keep stealing it whenever you're here then. So you told me what you were going to do, and I've immediately forgotten. Did you want to start with the overall look at the event and the faction breakdown? Is that what you want to start with?
Let's do that.
Very quickly, in 37 words or less, give me a rundown of what the Saffron Fantasy Slam is, and it's going to be on this Saturday.
So, Saffron Fantasy Slam.
I'm counting it for you, don't worry.
Did you count my counting?
I'm letting you off with this. But get back to it.
Yes, Saffron Fantasy Slam, ladies and gentlemen. We run events which are slightly off the competitive meta. We have a special Saffron Slam atmosphere, which is, I'm going to say, unique to the Saffron Slam events. Mostly 40k, but we're building.
I've lost track, but you've definitely gone over.
Oh, go away! I'm riffing now. And so definitely building an old world scene locally that is now generating to larger events, which is really, really good. As I say, we're trying to do things a bit differently. The competitive scene of old world is new, but it's becoming established, and that's really, really excellent. So I always try and create an atmosphere that's a little bit less serious, a little bit more welcoming to newer players. Not that the other events aren't, but you know what I mean. Trying to just create a bit more of a laugh with it. So that starts with the terrain. We don't do sort of player measured out, particularly kind of symmetrical boards where they're all the same across the whole event. We've got loads of cool terrain. We've got some fantastic terrain manufacturers that make stuff for me. They make some really, really nice quality stuff. So you'll be playing in a desert on one, and then you'll be off to an old ruined city or something like that, and you'll be playing loads of different things. And I'm slowly building up my old world terrain collection as well. So I'll diverge that away from the 40k stuff as well. So we've got this weekend. It's our last one-day event before we move across to GT-sized events. So we've got 26 players attending 3 games on Saturday. And it should be, I'm hoping, a really, really excellent event. We've got a lovely little venue that we go to. And I'm hoping this will be the last event, I think, where we allow unpainted minis. I think after that, even the very new Saffron Wilder community we'll be in a position where everybody's got 2K painted at that point. So the GT in February will be all the normal battle ready restrictions. Snoozy, it's been run on BCP. I haven't attempted to run an event on New Recruit yet. I would welcome any TO feedback as to whether that's better.
I don't like it.
Okay, right. Good.
I'm slightly involved in the SBot running, so I launched some of the pods.
Yeah.
And you have 2 options on New Recruit: random or by score. So literally, number 1 plays against number 2, number 3 plays against number 4. Right, so I clicked random, and it just did random. It didn't do random in bracket. It just did random. So there I am, sat on my fucking bus trying to repair, which is not ideal. Matthew says I don't like change. Damn right. Oh yeah, that's a good point. It is easier to track from a stats point of view, and I do need to make that easy for you. But the UK is pretty big on BCP. We're a BCP a BCP nation, that's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of my players, not all of them, but probably 50% of my players have come from 40k, and now they're playing Old World or doing both. And 40k is across the whole world, everybody uses BCP. I think other than maybe France, who use something different, but every country in the
I
world
think
uses
Australia
BCP.
might use down under pairings because
Oh
they're
yeah,
just
they've got an
acting weird.
Australian specific
But
one.
also the servers, I think, famously weren't great. They're a lot better now. BCP's pretty smooth. The app is dog shit, but the actual user experience is pretty okay if you use the website. There was like a 3-year time when
Where
it was not,
crashed, yeah.
and Australia, I think, probably on top of that, being so far away from the servers was just probably a bridge too far, I would think. But so you have 5 events, 5 2-day events next year.
Indeed, I do.
And tickets do sell out pretty quickly. So I have posted the link down below if you're interested in going. We need to talk about whether I need to be giving you money for these. I probably should, support your local tournament organizers. But we'll hammer out the details. I want to use my.
You're worse than our government, Ed.
I mean, that's pretty rude. That's pretty rude. You owe me a free ticket, though, so I'd like to book that in for the first Saffron Fantasy Slam, the 22nd to the 23rd of February, please. Just going to say that on record. Yeah.
Nothing was proved.
That's from winning an event, not just, for favors. To make that clear. The second thing that I laughed halfway through when you were saying it was a casual experience, and that's not because I was laughing at you. I was laughing at me because I remembered something. This is an event where you can turn up with unpainted models. That's because it's kind of the on-ramp to getting fantasy into Saffron Walden.
Yep.
You're doing a fantastic job. You're building an actual community. You've got a club night that you go to fortnightly. All really great stuff. And I think it's like, I probably personally would have gone to a fully painted army requirement myself, but I'm a bastard and you're a much nicer person than I am. So it's cool that you're doing it. And I'm actually coming with a slightly unpainted army just because I was like, I could play something that I own or I could play something a bit fresh and new and different. Yeah. About 5 days ago, I was, sorting the finances and I was like, I can't buy a new army this month. I need to just be sensible. No more buying new armies. And then a couple of days later, I was talking to Nicholas, friend of the channel, Nicholas, who was on for the tier list. And he's like, yeah, I'm selling my wood elves. I'll do them at 50% because I've got loads spare. It's like, so anyway, I've got it, and it's just arrived today. There's a box that I haven't even opened because I came in from my fantastic haircut straight to the stream. And there's a box full of wood elves that I was thinking about gluing together and bringing to this event. And there was about a 30 to 45 minute window where I was like, I'm going to be playing the Wood Elf list. I'm super excited. I think it's really fun to play. Not to play against. It's awful to play against. That's the joy of tournament lists sometimes. And I was like, yeah, this is it. I'm going to be playing the list that I really want to play. It's going to be great. I'm going to have a good time. And then I was like, I'm going to be the guy rocking up with a fully unpainted quintuple Pillar of Fire, triple Sisters of the Thorn list. I don't feel good about that, especially because Saffron is slightly more of a casual experience. It's not like a casual event, but there is a slightly friendlier edge to it. Like, don't get me wrong, if I'd painted the Wood Elves, I'd have no qualms about taking them.
Oh, yeah.
But turning up with them unpainted, I was like, nah, I can't do that. Like, that's too much. That would be a really shitty thing to do. So, yeah. So what I'm instead doing is playing a bad Dark Elf list, which should be funny. Yes. We'll talk about it in 10 minutes or so. But basically, I just want to play a big brick of Cold One Riders. So that's what I'm doing.
No, that'd be good. I did have a few people have emailed me this week asking, or not this week, but just before list submission, oh, can I bring strong lists? Is that allowed? Or do I get marked down? Anything like that? And what I've always said to everybody, and this would apply to you as well, Ed, if you wanted to bring the Pillar of Fire list, I've personally got no problem with it at all. Bring the powerful lists. And what I've tended to find is that the event after, especially for a GT size event, but after a game or two, the event stratifies itself. So all the players that are bringing the top lists go up to the top, they bounce up to the top, and they play their competitive games, and everybody else has a laugh on the rest of the tables. So what I've always said to people is bring the strong lists, absolutely bring them. Like, if that's what you want to play, and actually what we find, if you've got good players coming to Saffron Slam, which we tend to do, get some really good players come along, they do it as a practice weekend. They say, okay, this event does not matter in the grand scheme of where I want to be as a player. So actually, I'll use this to test a few things out. I'll test some different types of deployment out, and actually the people that kind of plan their Saffron experience like that, those good players can still get a lot out of the event. But what I have always said to those players is that actually you're going to know very, very quickly after you meet a player if they're one of the people that are new to the hobby and just trying to get into it, or have never been to a tournament before, or actually are just here for a laugh. And you just need to adjust your attitude to match the person that's going across you, because eventually, as you say, after a game or two, you're going to be stratified. You're going to play the other good players, and you're going to play them with their really strong lists, and you can actually just effectively play a little mini GT in the midst of the rest of it. But for those first game or two, you play against someone new, or we get some under 18s and stuff like that, so we get some younger players coming along as well. And actually, if you're playing against those guys, have a laugh with it. You're probably going to smash them. You're going to win very easily. So have that in the back of your mind. But ultimately, it's just treating people with the level that you kind of want them to be at. Snoozy, Saffron Walden has 20,000 residents, would you believe? And all of them whinge about dog poo on the Facebook group.
Oh, I would believe that. Yeah. Absolutely. As you say, there definitely are more competitive players who go, and people do take good lists. As I would know, I've been to one of your events and won it. Just getting that in there. But it's you're absolutely right. Once you're past that sort of initial one or two games, that you filter out into just the players who are there to win games while also still having a good time. Honestly, that's kind of the experience that you get at going to any tournament. Yeah. It's not, you've just got like more of a focus on the attitude as opposed to like if you go to a UKTC 40k event, unless you get unlucky, like round one, probably round two, you play against someone who's like, yeah, I'm pretty okay, and I remember my rules, and you're like, sweet. Let me turn my brain on in round three. The classic experience there. But we've waffled enough. I want to see some stats from you. And Let's got some stats.
Here we go. Faction stats. So we've got a good spread this time. I'm quite happy with that. 12 different factions represented at the event, across 26 players. So Warriors of Chaos coming out on top. Oh, what are you doing?
I just focus in my camera, don't mind me.
So you're doing like wax on, wax off or something. Oh, Mr. Miyagi was here. The Warriors of Chaos coming out on top here. 15% of the meta, followed closely by the Dark Elves, the Dwarves, the Tomb Kings. We've got a couple of different Warriors of Chaos lists in there. So I've lumped all of the arcane journals together as well. So Warriors of Chaos means there's a Wolves of the Sea list. Yes, Lucy, no rats, sad times. I don't know if you're getting into Old World, Lucy. Lucy is someone I coach 40k at. If you're coming into Old World, then you're more than welcome. Hopefully Patrick is convincing you. Edward has some good ideas on rat lists as well. So
I've played a few.
So I've lumped them all together. So all the arcane journals all go into one, no representation from the rats. Who else have we got? Who else is missing from that list?
Snoozy points out the demons aren't here.
Oh, demons! Yeah, no demons. Yeah. We had a really cool demons list last time, actually, with Bloodthirst, a corn themed list that was amazing. Dark Elves coming up strong with 12% of the meta, so I think that works out as 3 players coming with Dark Elves. That's got to be a pretty high representation of Dark Elves in any event. Yeah. And a couple of Vampire Counts players as well, which is always good. I love seeing legacy factions with strong representation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It is nice to see. We've got most things in there, and especially for these sort of like more casual one-day events, you tend to see just a wide spread of what do people own, what do people love, as opposed to people going, Tomb Kings are really good right now, or whatever else there is. I don't think there's anything in there that's super surprising to me. Has Alex uploaded his list yet? Because when I looked earlier in the day,
he has not. No,
Alex.
Been a naughty boy.
Alex Chancellor, 6++. I expect better from you. And it's a shame because he's such a lovely chap. And he's been so supportive of us here at Close Order.
Yeah, I've only taken both of your events. So I need to message him properly and find out what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I can do it myself. I won't be lazy. I'll go back and clip it and send it to him in the group chat and do some semi-public shaming. That's the thing. Matthew says, make it a last-minute narrative event. Assault on Nagaron. I reckon that I could.
Everybody versus the Dark Elves.
Yeah, what's that? 3 versus 23? those seem like fair odds. I'd beat 22 of you. Pretty easy. Yeah, well, for the S-Bot, there's 20 players in EU1, and I think we've now got 18 of them in one chat, so it's just shit talk all day. It's
carnage.
I'm not the one doing the most shit talk. In fact, I'm very restrained. I'm very aware that I don't want to just shit on people's streams. But yeah, Snoozy says, I see so many events with just one Ogre Kingdoms player. Are we sure it's not the same person doing a world tour? I don't think it is, on the basis that Alex was the one at your last event.
It's not Alex this time.
Alex this time.
There is a new Ogre player.
And we have, I've forgotten his actual name, but J. Elliott, or something along those lines, is the player in S-Bot who is playing Ogres. So I think we've got at least 3 of them in the world.
Ooh.
Indeed.
And what we don't have, actually,
not
a single Empire gun line.
Oh, no.
I know, what a shame.
I'm so sad. Shame. Maybe they changed their name. Oh, like just one of those fucking really annoying bots on Steam that like cycle through the names really quickly so you can't click them and ban them. That's maybe showing how much time I spend of my youth just playing fucking Counter-Strike. Anyway, let's get on to the exciting stuff. And by the exciting stuff, I want to talk about my list first, because I'm taking what can only be described as something a little bit silly.
What we like. Let's do it.
I was writing a very similar list. And my list was basically a 2-up save Dragon Lord, a big brick of Cold One Knights, and then some sort of sorcerer. The sorcerer shouldn't be illusion. That is fun, not good. But in the spirit of Saffron, I was like, fuck it. You know what? Let's give it a go. I'm never going to be able to play this at like an event, like a 2-day event. Yeah. That would be too much. But I am giving the Executioner's Axe Lore Familiar Illusion Caster a go. For those of you who are unaware, Illusion has a spell called Spectral Doppelganger. And if you manage to cast it on a 9, so it's not too bad, but you still fail it, 1 in 6 times, which is not ideal. The 5 in 6 times you cast it, and then hopefully you don't get it dispelled. You do 2d6 auto hits with any weapon that you're holding. And my Supreme Sorceress is holding the Executioner's Axe. It is an AP -2 killing blow weapon, which is, pretty okay. That always wounds on a 2+.
Oh,
it's a 70-point magic item. It's pretty spicy. So I'm looking forward to that. It does have strikes last, but as I checked with the TO beforehand, you don't get the benefit of strikes first from your weapon for casting assailants, so you don't get the downside of strikes last from your weapon for assailants as well. It makes sense, yeah. I think that's how most places would rule it, but I did want to check before I submitted my list. I was like, this is funny, but is it good? No, but it's playable. Because if you were at initiative 1, you would just die very quickly. I've also got, the standard dragon. Here I've got the full anti-Tomb King Royal Host setup, because this was a list that I wrote to beat that stupid Royal Host list. There is a video that I streamed on Friday if you want to see more about it. Basically, you want to be able to tank the Tomb King, who's going to have an Ogre Blade, so he's going to be weapon skill 6 or 7. He's going to be strength 7, AP -2 with the Ogre Blade, D3 damage. Because you've got the Shield of Grond, his attacks are -1 strength, so you're only being wounded on 4 because T6 strength 6.
Yeah.
Pendant of Caleth got a 4-up ward against anything strength 5 or higher, so a little bit of anti-synergy with the Shield of Grond, but I guess technically you don't have to use it if you're being shot by loads of strength 5 dwarf shooting, so that's something to consider. And then Sword of Might as well, because you're going to be in a challenge with something that hits you hard, so you need to have some sort of weapon. Honestly, Sword of Might is pretty crap. You're going to have 4 attacks at strength 5, AP 1. But
Dragon,
you got a dragon. Yeah. And you got a 2-up save against shooting. You got a 3-up save the rest of the time. It's pretty okay. Other than that, just the requisite core. 16, 24 Dark Riders even. 16 of them have Scout and Fire and Flee. The rest of them don't. They all have Musicians. And the big boss of Cold One Knights, which has... yeah, so there's 12 of them. I've got a unit champ with the Spell Eater Axe to give them magic resist 2. Got a Charmed Shield as well for once per game 5-up ward. I've got the Banner of Harganeth in there, which gives an extra pip of AP. I've also got a BSB Master in there as well, who's got the War Banner for a bit of extra combat res. Sword of Might, Charm Shield. Sword of Might in this squad is pretty good, because he's going to have 3 attacks at Strength 5 AP 2, which is better than the Lance in a long fight, which is what I'm expecting to have to put up with. So that's the list there. It's silly. And what I want to do is I wasn't expecting anyone to bring Royal Host, obviously. What I wanted to do is find out if it plays into the general field. Is there any play into good lists, basically? That's what I'm hoping to find out. If I can go 3-0 with it, I'll go, oh, okay, maybe this is a list that I can play around with in terms of like an anti-Royal Host meta destroyer list.
Yeah.
But yeah, any comments on this beautiful beast?
I like it. My only comment would be is that you could take the Dreadlord out and put another block of 12 cold ones in. Then everything is on cold ones, or I don't know what the ride is.
So the only issue with that is that the cold ones take up quite a big footprint.
Yeah.
So you can't realistically charge 2 units into the Royal Host massive unit of 190 models. So
you have 26 dinosaurs.
Yeah, but here I've got 14 dinosaurs and a dragon. I think I like those odds more. I think that's more favourable. But you could play around with it. I'm not going to. I love me a dragon. Like, it's a very hard to shift dragon.
Cold ones in core.
No. That would be too good. Like, don't get me wrong. The things that Dark Elves have that are good are very good.
Yeah.
But they're very limited, so you get very cookie cutter style lists, basically. Yeah. Realistically, if you wanted to make this a better list, what I would be doing is dropping the. I wouldn't be going. What should we call it? I wouldn't be going for illusion with the Supreme Sorceress. I'd go battle magic and just, it gives you some play in the rest of the game, so you can Pillar of Fire and Fireball and Ruby Ring of Ruin and just pick up all the chaff, which will score you points more than because this list can be avoided. It's got 2 bricks that go reasonable speed. I don't have Arcane Urgency. That sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, is what it is. So for your list, did you want to talk about Edward's first?
Yes, I'm going to do Ed Adlard's list first.
Hell yeah!
Oh, you've got it up there. Look, I had it.
Yeah, I've had to size it correctly, so it's easier for me to do it.
No, you crack on. This is called the Round Table Rejects, which I like as a name. Ed happens to be the fine gentleman who won the first Saffron Fantasy Slam. So he has the honour of winning the first ever Old World event in Saffron Walden. No one can take that away from him. That's his.
Maybe the first fantasy event in Saffron Walden.
It probably was. Yeah. I would have thought. Maybe. But yes, bit different. He had a few more Pegasus Knights in the first edition of this list, and as you can imagine, stomped a lot of people on his way to that victory. So this is a list that Ed and I have been working on a little bit together. He's played me a couple of times. We go back and forth a little bit, and we're anticipating Pegasus nerfs inbound at some point in the future, and are same for the Green Knight nerfs as well. So trying to see what else is in the Bretonnian book that could be useful or could step in to fill the breach, shall we say. So it's a list built around, it's an Exiles list, built it around a Baron on Hippogriff. So it's still armed with all the cool stuff, still got the virtues, all that sort of things, but not on a Pegasus. So on the Hippogriff. Now, Hippogriff is okay, but it is a monstrous creature or monster, whatever it's called. So it doesn't have the 360 view that the Pegasus Knights have. So that does restrict it immediately. So you've got to start thinking a lot more carefully about your positioning with this model. So and obviously we know the Pegasus Knights are really, really good. That's kind of a given, isn't it? But we can see what other options do we have if we don't have that. We've then gone for Baron.
Before you move on, someone pointed out on the Close Order Discord, link down below, check it out. There's over 300 of you now. That the Hippogriff is the best Griffin equivalent across all of the armies because it has barding. So you can get up to that 2-up save, assuming you combo it with something like the Griffin, the Grummel Great Helm. Yeah,
so I think that still makes it. It still does what that big Baron on the Pegasus does. It just you've got to get around the maneuverability issue and see where that ends you up. We then have the second Baron, who is on a Pegasus, this one, he's got the stupid horn. We assume, I mean, obviously none of us know what nerfs may or may not be incoming. I imagine that's going to go up in points if they start playing around with points. But I don't see a realm in which, unless they make it like 300 points, where you just would
I
not
think you're
expect
looking at this from a 40k player perspective. I think you're expecting a far finer tooth comb than we're going to get, bud.
that. Then we're going to
And
get.
I don't know, but I don't. You're like, I'm expecting these things to go up in points. I'm like, points changes? Well, I never.
Well, we can live in hope.
Yeah.
And then we've gone for 2 Outcast Wizards. Stuck them on horses because they are Bretonnians. Ruby Ring, Ruin, Dark Magic, and Lore Familiar on the first one, and the Battle Magic on the second one. These are quite funny. Obviously, they're only level 3. But they do have some funny things about dispelling hexes, and they do have really funny things when they miscast as well. So they are a good laugh. Not convinced they're good, but in terms of like competing against other level 4s, I think they can get shut down quite a lot, and we were finding that in my game against him with my vampires. As soon as I got into dispel range with the Mortis engine, I was shutting them down quite regularly.
Yeah.
But again, if we end up in a world where there's some kind of restriction on level 4s, don't know if that's going to be a thing or not. Do we start need to look at lower level wizards and see?
You've got the maneuverability to stay out of range because you're on a horse and you've got, you're a skirmisher. So unless you misposition, you should be able to get your spells off.
Oh, 100%. And the second one,
going for those buffs, right?
Yeah, definitely. And the second one has the prayer icon of Quenelles as well. So it's got a 27-inch dispel, so it can do the stay out of range, but also be able to dispel you, which is nice.
And also dispel at a +4 against hexes.
Yes, exactly. So it's effectively against some spells it's dispelling as a level 4, which is nice. Then into the core, big chunk of Yeoman Guard. 30 of them. The Titan of Saffron Walden clashes with the Giant of the East Midlands.
I don't know if this is a reference, but I read that in the Mitchell and Webb football sketch. The Titans of Saffron Walden versus the Giant of the East Midlands in a match described as on this Sunday. It's a classic.
Who will win this game of toy soldiers?
Yeah, I'm sure, given the respective size of this channel and David Mitchell, you probably don't need me to recommend Mitchell and Webb to you, but very funny if you have
Google it. But yes, 30 Yeoman Guard with all the many champions in there. I remain unconvinced by these guys because they just don't do very well against undead. But I think against everybody else, they're quite a good block of infantry, really.
Outside of the infantry that undead can take, they are the best infantry in the game.
Yeah,
they are really solid.
Yeah, so and they're 30 of them for only 200 points. They're not that expensive either. I think you could build a big infantry list around that. Then we've got 2 units of 6 Knights of the Realm. We're having a lot of backs and forths about the number of models you take in this unit. We did start with 10. 10 is nice because you don't just immediately lose the unit to the punchback. But effectively, once they've charged, they're just guys with hand weapons. So not amazing. So having the extra 4, is that really helping you? We've gone trying 6. Is that too little? Don't know. Maybe 8 is the sweet spot. Because
8 is the sweet spot,
best of the lance, but then obviously you got to find the points for that, and where else do you find the points? So
I think you go 1 squad of 8 with War Banner, and then you just bulk up this squad of Yeoman Guard. If I was doing it, that would be my approach.
And then last but not least, or not last but not least, sorry, special units. We've got 3 Pegasus Knights. So again, potentially anticipating Games Workshop doing a little bit more than you have hoped for, Ed, and limiting the size of this unit. 3 is still amazing. Just they are amazing, aren't they? So I don't need to say anything about Pegasus Knights. 10 Squires. These really are the kind of skirmish units to just get out in front and distract, block charges, that sort of thing, if required. Block shooting critically as well.
I'd like to see them as 2 5s. I think that would
2
be
5s.
Yeah,
a bit more flexibility. Do they come in? Yeah, you can take them in 5s, can't you? But yeah, so they give him scouts as well, and they give a very easy unit if you play any kind of like flank attack missions and things like that. If you just want to chuck a unit away, they're quite good at that, and they don't lose too much. The horn just needs to be 1 use only. As an undead player, I support that because I don't like
flying that you typically have.
And then 2 Border Prince's Bombards which are best
Real
cannons in
good.
the game, baby.
They're real good. Like, you can argue that the Empire Great Cannon is better by virtue of having an engineer,
Yes.
but as an unsupported cannon, there's nothing better. It's a pretty good. I like it.
Yeah. So
A couple of tweaks that I'd make. I would not be putting the Blazing Banner on the Pegasus Knights. Bretonnians have so many good banners. However, there is a Troll Horde list at this event, so if if the matchups go right, like, that's going to be so brutal. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. No, I like it. As you say, it's interesting to theorize what you do if Pegasus Knights were no longer the take, 1,000 points of them, including your characters on them. But yeah. Matthew said someone told him trolls are coming. Yeah. Anything else you want to say about this one, or should we move on to the next list?
A troll in the dungeon.
Thought you ought to know. Perfect. I'm going to talk about Matthew's list.
Here we go. Let's do it.
And that's because I really loved Troll Horde, so I'm excited to see this. So, Matthew has gone for a Troll Hag, a Weird Knob, and Ogdras. So you've got a level 4 caster, Battle Magic, Idle Mork. Yeah, that's pretty solid. You've got a level 3 with Lore Familiar, which is Ogdras, who's got, obviously, his 2 laws he can pull from. This guy again, hey. And then double Troll Hag, one of which has Talisman of Protection and is the general. Troll Hags, off the top of my head, do they start at level 1? I don't think they do. No, I think they do. It's been a hot minute since I played Troll Horde. The last S-bot, and I went 1 and 4, so
you keep going on with that.
Yeah, so the general, if you've got level 1 casting on it, is quite nice because you're big smarts in an 18-inch bubble because you're a general and a large target. Ogdras does get +1 to cast, that's correct. So he casts at +4, but he dispels at level 3. Idle Mork is obviously quite nice. Yes, Matthew says they're level 1, just use them for big smarts. Yeah, that is big smarts. That's the best way to use them as a caster because it's a remains in play, so you cast it, then you move forwards, which means that you actually have a chance of having it make be effective. Into core, we've got 5 river, 5 stone trolls, so 3 units of 5. And then we've got the orc mobs as well, 2 units of 5, light armor warbows. I saw you talking about these on Discord either earlier or yesterday when you were saying just have them in a marching column. And then you can march them around and use them as little move blockers, redirectors, all that stuff. Really annoying against me and my 12 cold ones. That would suck. And then you've also got 3 individual goblin wolf chariots, a little bit of chaff there, and then a unit of 6 orc boars with cavalry spears and heavy armor. That's an interesting choice. It's like you've put them in the list and you've forgotten to put half the gear on them. What's up with that, Matthew? Where's the shields?
They don't need shields.
They kind of do.
For the weak.
I might have been tempted to go 1 less chariot and go a slightly bigger unit of boar boys with shields and then maybe some sort of banner, because their banners are so good. I guess maybe they just use a chaff unit. And maybe I'm just looking at them through the lens of this is a killing unit and you're using them as a cheap redirector and or just like you have to deal with them.
Your damage here really comes from the troll hags and the trolls, doesn't it?
Yeah. You got 15 trolls, 2 troll hags that are surprisingly hard to shift unless you've got battle magic, which spoiler, I don't, because I wrote a worse list. I think
banner.
Yeah, I think the double river troll over stone trolls is probably good. I thought that it was probably going to be better to go stone trolls because of the magic resist, but it turns out pillar of fire is just the thing that carves through you. And like you're probably going to play against multiple pillars of fire. You'll find, I know I did. Out of the 5 lists I played, I think 2 of them had triple pillar and 1 of them had double, something along those lines. There was a lot of pillar of fire coming my way.
The extra wound is nice on the river trolls, isn't it?
Yeah. Matthew says they're a bunker. Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Although if they're a bunker, I definitely want a shield on there. But I guess unless you drop a model, it's hard to fit in. That's the downside of these sort of low model count armies. That rat bastard says Rat Street's back. All right. Unfortunately, Rat Street is closed.
All right.
There we go. There are no rats available. at this fine establishment. How dare, sir? How dare you tell us that there are rats? Perfect. All right. So
the shields might be a mistake. The rest is
no, that's fair. Like when you've said that it's a bunker, it does make sense. I would like to see shields on there, but I'm not bringing any shooting, so it doesn't matter against me when we inevitably get paired for round one. One wood river troll hits just as hard as a 4-wound one. Yes, and I did deliberately read out your typo because you make fun of me enough. It's my turn to do the same. We have one last list that you wanted to talk about,
Yes.
and it's gonna be Dark Elves again.
It is. This is a proper Dark Elf player, Red.
Oh,
You
fuck
wouldn't
off.
know. This is, other than 2 War Hydras, this is all infantry, baby, which I very much enjoyed. This guy is playing fantasy. He is he's not got the memo. The infantry apparently aren't very good, but this is Tim Jones. Very much looking forward to seeing this in the flesh. Got the Supreme Sorceress up there with a load of stuff. I don't understand what it was. I literally looked at this because I like the infantry, so you can tell me what it does, Ed. The Pendant of Kaleth, the Black Staff, level 4 wizard, dark magic.
All of that, yeah.
Does a thing.
Yeah, I just need to check what the Black Staff does because normally I run with the not that. Okay, Black Staff is you roll an additional d6 and discard the lowest. However, so it's just an eternal power scroll. You can basically use a power scroll. So you roll 3d6, drop the lowest, but if you roll a double 1, you miscast.
Right. So you've got a high miscast chance, but actually, yeah. I like that. That's quite cool. John B says, "Hot damn, that list is everything that I love." Yes, John, that's why I've put it up here. This is what Old World will be one day. We've then got the Master with the Razor Standard, Talisman of Protection, Sword of Might. I'm not sure. Good in combat, or was he literally just there for the banner?
He's an elf. 3 attacks at strength 4. So 3 attacks at strength 5, AP 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Then we've got Dreadlord. Dreadlord appears to have forgotten his dragon, but he's wearing the blood armor, carrying the ogre blade, and the potion of foolhardiness, which I very much enjoy. And he has, unlike the Orc Boar Boys, he has remembered his shield.
Yeah. Just Matthew catching strays despite no longer looking at his list. Come on. You've got to be nice to the man. He's about to suffer a crushing defeat in 48 minutes.
Is Matthew running the Troll Horde list in?
No, he's playing quite a tasty chaos list.
Right. Okay. So he's being nice with that.
I had a lot of feedback on. So if I lose to it, there is very much like a bitter note there.
I look forward to seeing the result later. We do have some non-infantry. My apologies. 6 Dark Riders, fire and flee with the scouts. Always tasty. Good chaff clearance there. Then 2 units of Dark Elf warriors. 19 of them and 20 of them.
I wonder where the BSB's going.
Although you say that, 20 Blackguard.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dreadlord goes in there.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but to me, that screams, here is my fuck bunker.
Yeah.
And you shall be fucked. You know what's really fun about this? So the unit of 19 Dark Elf warriors who have the Standard of Slaughter.
Yeah.
The Standard of Slaughter gives you plus D3 to your combat res if you charged.
Yeah. Oh, that's
infantry, baby.
One caveat too far, isn't it?
Yeah. That's let's get some swift stride on those warriors somehow. That seems necessary.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Double Hydra is funny. And actually, because I've not brought my usual sort of list, probably playable against me because I don't have any shooting to just blast them off the table without any defenses.
Yeah, I think those warriors go down quick, don't they, if you start shooting them?
Yeah, I wish I'd brought the usual battle magic, Gatling gun, but I didn't. So
and there's no Empire gunline to take him down either, so it's going to be on the dwarves out shooting.
Yeah. Do we have the our prediction for the winner? Is that what's happened?
Oh, I mean that would be bold at this stage because I don't know if I know Tim, and that's going to be really rude if I do know him. I've just come off a 40k event and had 50 people at it, so trying to remember all of those names and then everybody else's names is I'm not very good with names.
He's the wizard, isn't he?
the Wizard Harry.
Yeah. There's some call me Tim. Anyway, enough of my 50-year-old references. Do you want to hit the big red button?
Let's do it.
We're going to look at the round 1 pairings, and they're going to be going up in just a second, which is spicy because I've only looked at some of the armies.
Right.
Yes.
Are we ready? Do you want to give me a countdown, Ed?
I think you should press it, and we should pretend to do a countdown because BCP takes fucking ages.
3, 2, 1, bosh. Got it. I've hit the button. 10%.
Hit the button.
Pairings have been generated. Shall we start the round timer now?
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Okay, everybody, you have 3 hours to get yourself to Saffron Walden and play your game.
Ben
and I need to set some
Harper.
tables up.
I'm pretty sure I know Ben Harper. Again, my life is a constant sea of faces and usernames talking to me, but I'm fairly confident I know Ben Harper.
We need a rule on Discord where people put their actual names on because I can't link people's Discord names to their
Oh yeah. No, he was at the TSN Arena event that I won last month. He did pretty well. He came like 3rd or something. So this is a bit of a barn burner to start off with.
Oh, I played Ben. Ben is the guy who came 2nd, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's going to have an actual list. This is great.
Got an actual Tomb Kings list. Here we go.
So he's got. Let's have a look at this here. So he's running a Tomb King on Dragon. Sweet. So he's gone for a tanky dragon as well. Talisman and Armor of Ages sort of might. So both of our dragons going to slap each other and not do very much. A High Priest on Dragon. Double Dragon. Was he playing Double Dragon when he played you?
Yeah, they both died. Right. Just saying.
Very cool. 3 chariots, 40 skeleton warriors, skirmishers, scorpion, casket, screaming skull, necrosphinx. This is just kind of like a Tomb King.
I think it's an identical list to the TSN Arena one, to be fair. I can't remember any changes from that.
This is a Tomb King's like good stuff list, I'd say. Yeah. You've got a lord, you've got a caster, you've got a big brick of infantry, you've got one of each of the rare slot choices. All of them are good. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to playing against that. That'll be a lot of fun.
It was lovely bloke to play against, actually. I had an absolutely brilliant game against him. So
yeah, sweet. He seemed nice when I talked to him at the event. Didn't get to play him at the time. But yeah, so this will be interesting because my list is not equipped to deal with
2 dragons.
Yeah. So weirdly, I think I am equipped to deal with dragons because I've got an illusion caster, so I can do my usual bullshit. You know, the Column of Crystal, Mesmet Mirage, if I get them off. He's only casting at +4. He's not Mort Cult, so he doesn't get the plus stupid roll, which means that my Magic Resist, Cold One Brick, my caster in there, I'm probably okay not getting ruined by his Necromancy. Mm-hmm. Fingers crossed. We'll see. Cool. Fun list. Are there any spicy matchups here that we're looking for?
So Matthew's Troll Horde has gone into Patrick's Vampire Counts. This is Matthew. You're going to have to be very nice to Patrick. This is his first Old World event, and probably maybe his 5th or 6th Old World game. So you need to behave yourself.
Excellent.
Ed Adlard, whose list we went through earlier, his Bretonnians are playing against Tom's Chaos Dwarves.
Now, do you know Tom? Do you know Tom?
I have no idea. No.
Okay, cool. I don't know Tom either, but I did have a look at his list because Chaos Dwarves have pretty spicy lists, and this is basically the list that our friend Tom has been playing. Well, my friend Tom has been playing, who has got basically the really tanky Sorcerer Prophet, the War Boss with the Effigy of Morkan and Ogreblade. So this is going to be casting the -1 to hit bubble. Yep. And flying up behind the Black Orc, who's got the -1 to hit effigy. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be -2 to hit. So he ain't dying in combat, and he cleaves. So this is absolutely a list that can take on Bretonnians, I think. And then the rest of it, you've got the Black Orc mob, which is just solid. You've got an Iron Demon. You've got a Death Shrieker. The rest of it is just like efficient units. The Ruby Ring of Ruin, Hobgoblin Khan, I'm pretty sure it has reserve move on the Hobgoblin Riders down here. Yeah, there we go, reserve move.
Oh, of course, he puts them in there.
Yeah, you just sort of like forwards, backwards, do a Ruby Ring of Ruin, all that good stuff. So yeah, I think this list might be better than the Brett's list. Now, I don't know about either of the pilots. I don't know either of them, so honestly, that's mostly what it comes down to. But if these are equally skilled players, I think the Brett player is in for a real hard time. This is a really solid list.
Definitely.
And
I think
that hippogriff is going to get carved through by an ogre blade. Strength 7, T5. God, that's rough. Is it also a 2-up save? Full plate shield? No. Yeah, you can't fit the troll hide trousers on there as well. So if you do get through that -2 to hit, which, spoiler, you probably won't, but if you do, you can cause some pain to it. But yeah, no, this is a spicy list. I'm a big fan. Let's have a quick look at what else we got. Obviously, Jamie Balcom, we both know from 40k. Yep. Absolute stone cold 40k killer. I think slightly more casual in the old world scene. But
just getting started. He'll warm up, don't you worry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't turn that bit of your brain off, can you? What else have we got?
Wolves of the Sea list I've seen as well, playing against him. Jacques Wolves of the Sea list.
Let's have a look at that one.
I'm excited.
I really like Wolves of the Sea.
The models more than anything.
Yeah. So there is a Chariot Lord. Okay. And then there is
Ivar the Homeless.
And Walrus the Blubberborn. You can always tell what sort of game you're going to be in for when you read the names of the units. The units aren't named. Shame. So
come on, I've named all of my units.
Chariots, a big brick of warriors. That's pretty spicy, especially because they're in special. Two. Jesus Christ! All right. And then Nelly, the gigantic spawn of Corn, which I always say you should be taking Nurgle. But again, I'm not running shooting. I almost always run loads of shooting. So this fucker, because Spawn of Corn gives it Killing Blow.
Yeah. Do you have as well?
No, but it's random move, so it wouldn't matter.
Oh right, of course, yeah.
But Killing Blow is really, really big. It has a single bite attack, the gigantic spawn, which is strikes last, but if any damage it does, it heals. Normally it's only 1, but if you Killing Blow like a Demon Prince or something, you can heal 4 wounds, which is very funny, and makes you conditionally tankier than a Nurgle Demon Prince, a Nurgle giant spawn in the right circumstances. But some fun games there. Obviously, Scott is coming, and he's playing into Bretonnian Exiles. That's what you get for playing Wood Elves. I don't care that you're playing a friendlier list with some Eternal Guard in there. Sucks to be you playing Wood Elves, you fuck. Said respectfully. And then we've got Beastmen into Dwarves. That should be fun. See if the Dwarf lines can hold.
Shooty dwarf list. I'm going to assume it is, but I don't want to cast aspersions on Paul's character. Runesmith, Thane, King, Rangers, Warriors, Grudge Thrower, Iron Breakers.
It's actually quite a melee list.
I like it.
Yeah. Callum says he hasn't healed his spawn once with attack. It's getting silly. Yeah, that's because you should play it better. Dave Time. Still not enough time to paint 150 goblins yet. No, I'm not. I think especially because loads of people are playing dragons, I don't think... So that list wants to be on the fringe of the meta. You want to be the only one playing it for it to be good. Because that's when all the things that you hunt come out in force. When everyone is like, I'm going to play loads of poison infantry, that's when that sort of list gets a lot worse, which is what we might see with that Royal Host list. There's definitely room for that. All right, cool. Anything else before we wrap up? Can you keep this one short and sweet this evening?
No, I think that'll do us. I think it's going to be a cracking day. Very much looking forward to it. Thank you to everybody that picked up tickets. It's very much appreciated. You never know when you start running a whole new game and a whole new event as to whether there's going to be enough interest. And I'm really glad the Old World has taken off in the way that it has, because it's always been my personal passion. So to be able to host events with the game that I love so much is just going to be amazing. So I'm really looking forward to this weekend, and actually probably more looking forward to the fact that next year we're going to do some big signature events, big GTs that we're actually going to really get stuck into. So I'm
tickets available now.
Yeah, tickets
are in the description. Let me just open up and buy some. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching all.